All right, next we have Romanticism, 1780 to 1850 CE. And Romanticism was a reaction to the Industrial Revolution. So around this time, well, right before Romanticism, is when the Industrial Revolution happened. And the Industrial Revolution, what was a really important invention? The steam engine, right? The steam engine, and there were a lot of scientific advancements, technological advancements, engineering advancements, and Romanticism was a reaction to the Industrial Revolution because, well, the Industrial Revolution focused on order, harmony, and rationality because it's based on science, right? So it rejected all these three, and Romanticism was also influenced by the French Revolution and its ideals, the pursuit of freedom and equality and representation of the middle class, the working class. And so to represent these working people, the laborers, it was the depiction of heroes and individuals that was important in Romanticist painting. And so it also focused on ideals and desires of society and politics from a liberal working class standpoint. Okay, so this is a Romanticist painting, very recognizable painting. Liberty Leading the People by Eugene Delacroix. So this lady here is an anthropomorphized metaphor for liberty. She is liberty, the embodiment of liberty, and she is leading the people to freedom, to fight for their freedom. And so these people have weapons in their hands. So this painting is depicting not the French Revolution, but a different event, a second French Revolution that was overthrowing one of their kings. And this is kind of it's an abstracted painting. It's not, they don't have photography back then. They were like, Delacroix was basically depicting this is how it went, this is how it happened, and liberty was literally leading the people. So Romanticism is considered to be one of the first forms of abstracted art because, well, it depicts heroes and ideals and fantasy. So it's exaggerated. This one is not exaggerated. This is an actual event that happened in Spain. So this is the 3rd of May in 1808 by Francisco Goya. So Goya is a Spanish person, and what's happening here is these are Spanish people who stood up, who rebelled against the French here. So the French were occupying Spain in 1808, and people didn't want that, so they stood up against the French government, and here they're being executed by a firing squad for standing up for their country. Okay, let's talk about realism. Realism lasted from 1850 to 1900 CE, and it's considered the first modern art movement. And realism happened as a result of the rise of journalism, photography, and an anti-romantic movement in Germany. So journalism is like news, ways of propagating information, right? So journalism, how did journalism happen? Well, before realism, we had the Industrial Revolution, right? And before the Industrial Revolution, the printing press was invented. And the printing press was a way for people to mass produce books. And if you can mass produce books, you can spread information more easily. And then combine that with the steam engine, locomotive, ways to take books from one place to another really, really fast, really quickly. Okay? So you have books and you have speed, right? That's how you get journalism. And also, photography added on to that, right? So photography was invented before realism, and now people have the ability to record events as they are without painting or sculpting them, right? So it was like almost instant way of making records of history. And there was an anti-romantic movement in Germany, and romantic. Okay, so the romantic period, just like the word implies, romance, it's about ideals, right? Just like how we saw previously. It focused on ideals and the fantasies of society and politics, right? And realism was against that, especially in Germany, because the romantic movement, the romantic period, didn't really focus on the laborers, but instead it focused on the ideals. And then realism came around, and it started to actually depict laborers and working class. And so that means it attempts to capture everyday life accurately. So there's no abstraction of any kind. A lot of Romanticism was abstracted, and it was from imagination, a whole lot of it. And so it does not depict ideals, but instead facts. Okay, so this is an example of a realist painting, The Gleaners by Jean-Francois Millet. Very famous painting. It's actually a really small painting. It's not that big. It's maybe like, I don't know, 8 inches by 12 inches or something like that. Really small, but very detailed, very well painted. You can see haystacks in the back. You can see livestock pulling wagons and people on horses, some houses, barns, and then 3 women in the foreground gleaning. Okay, Gustave Courbet. Bonjour, Monsieur Courbet. The meeting. So what's going on here? Well, nothing. Nothing special is going on. And that's the beauty of it. It just captures 3 people who were on their way somewhere, and then they just stumbled upon each other. And they're just saying hi. Hence the title, Bonjour, right? Monsieur Courbet. So I'm guessing this is Courbet, and these are some people that he met on his way somewhere. And they're just saying hi, literally. Very candid, very casual. Okay, this one is called After Dinner at Ornans by Gustave Courbet. And what are they doing here? Well, they're having dinner, I think. Maybe it's lunch. They're having drinks. There's a dog. Okay, and this guy, maybe he wanted to show his friends what he learned over the weekend on his fiddle, right? So he's playing something, and they're listening. I don't know what this guy's doing, but yeah, they're just hanging out. It's a very peaceful painting of people being people. Okay, and then lastly, we have The Stonebreakers, again by Gustave Courbet. All right, so in this one, just a couple laborers breaking stone. What are the stones used for? I don't know. Maybe it's used for masonry, maybe for building houses. Maybe they just want to move the rocks somewhere else and it just helps if they're smaller. Who knows? Who knows? But it's a very candid and very honest painting about everyday life, about laborers. And there's no fantasy here, no depiction of heroes. It's just people, hard-working, working-class people depicted in a very honest manner. All right, so that's it for week 11. I'll see you next week.